So we're just going to go through our closeout deck here. Really appreciate everybody involved. We're all volunteers here. We have day jobs. It's just great seeing the community come together to provide this service globally, right? And you see this phrase here, improvise, adapt, and overcome. So that was actually borrowed from the Marines. So the Marines are trained to improvise, adapt, and overcome any obstacle in whatever situation they are needed, right? So I wanted to borrow that phrase. So from an improvised perspective, we moved very quickly and got an event up and running in a very short window of a few weeks. We had nearly 500 people register in a single day, and we adapted. We couldn't facilitate an in-person event. By using Microsoft Teams live events, we were able to broadcast to a global audience outside of our original scope of Texas. This allowed us to provide an even more value to the Microsoft IT Pro community. And we overcome, right? We overcame. So just looking at the stats from registration of over 1,200 to current live events viewers of over 650 concurrent viewers, we as community leaders have successfully pulled off the logistics, but that is only a piece of this. A big shout out to Brad Anderson, the Microsoft Product Group, and MVPs for broadcasting their knowledge and fielding questions to enable the global community and enable users within their organizations to work anywhere, anytime, on any device. So Sean, if you can come off of mute, if you don't mind just recapping the sessions.
No problem. It was a pleasure having all of you here. And for those of you who started early this morning at 9 o'clock Central Time and hung all the way through the end of the day on a Friday, thank you very much. Again, the recordings will be made available. The other nice important thing to do out there is if you go to the schedule link, which is the tiny URL in the bottom right, please feel free to give feedback to the presenters, to the group here, to your individual user communities as the icons show in the upper right. And we had some wonderful knowledge dropped on us with the opening from Aaron. Aaron has given some really cool tips and tricks around finding information that's actually in the documentation, and I do highly recommend going back and looking through that. The Windows Virtual Desktop, as we heard multiple times throughout the day, has just absolutely exploded, and it's a very interesting, very cool thing. With the addition of FS Logic at Microsoft, it's just absolutely awesome. Michael Niehaus with the Autopilot has really made things amazing, and I'd be surprised if you haven't looked at it. Again, I think we'll see show some survey results a little bit later, but if you haven't looked at it or you thought there was a blocker, I would reevaluate. The Microsoft Defender ATP, if you're like the vast majority of comments and feedback you're getting on Discord, Reddit, Twitter, the chat channels here and everywhere else, that thing is awesome. Make sure you take a look at it. There are some links in the Q&A, and we'll send links out from Matt Soseman as well about how to do testing in your own environment if you haven't played with it. Jason, David, Brad, Adam, this afternoon was the most recent ones, and you guys all knocked it out of the park. Thank you very much, and I hope you all will be eager to come back and speak again. And if there's any other topics you would like us to bring up in the future, just hit us up in the QA or talk to your local user group, and we'll make sure that we get this again happening in the future. Over to you, Mr. Stephen.
Thank you, Sean. And Cameron, if you don't mind coming off of mute, if you want to go through through this stat here, just to kind of recap on this and show the audience this was truly a global event.
Absolutely. So thanks to everybody out there. I was just looking through the chat window and responding to a couple of Q&A sessions out there. I mean, we got a guy who was on from Australia. I was I was very thankful, even though it's a very late time frame for them over there. Folks out of the UK. I mean, obviously our United States and probably heavy Texas-based crew. But to see the geographic dispersion that we've seen on this event, from what started as a just gathering of Texas user groups, it's incredible to see. So thank you for all those, especially those that are attending in time zones where it's really a lot rougher than it is for us, starting the time frames that we normally wake up. Even top cities, good stuff there. And now we're competitive in terms of who brought the most people. I wonder who pushed that poll, Donnie.
Yeah, that's
we
because
rock.
CT-SMUG's the best. Come on.
So that would happen to be CT-SMUG at the top with 47, HASMUG, which would be Stephen and crew with 43, Spring, interesting, that's not even one of our locations, that's cool. DFW SMUG coming in after that, and then the San Antonio SMUG after that, with Toronto outside of the United States right after that, so very cool.
Yeah, I got a little surprise for you. So you really think Austin's on top?
We'll see.
We know how a
We
map
got
works.
Houston, we have Spring, we have Katy, we have Sugarland.
I'm waiting for him to claim Minneapolis next. What the heck?
Hey, it's all in the
know
greater
that was
Houston
Chicago,
area.
Texas.
All right, now here's another stat here, Cameron.
All right, so heavy duty on Texas, not too surprising because that's where we based out of the user groups, but great to see some folks from California, Ontario, Florida, New York, Ohio, New Jersey, my home state formerly of Illinois, North Carolina, and then of course our folks out there in the wonderful balmy world of Minnesota. So good breakdown there, man.
Yeah, so Donnie Taylor, excellent job today, helping out with the session transitions and fielding the questions and the answers. That's a lot of work. Really appreciate it, man, stepping up to the plate. So Donnie, you have something to say about this slide and how you'll be following up with folks that are interested in learning, who's running their local user groups and what kind of local user groups in their area can they participate in?
Absolutely. So we're all very passionate. We don't do this, for any other reason other than making sure that the tech community keeps growing and keeps getting more knowledgeable and keeps getting better at their jobs because ultimately it makes us all a better community. In that vein, we are going to, in one of the questions when you registered for the event was if anybody did not know of a local user group that we would be reaching out and trying to hook you up with one. So you can see on the slide there at Donnie_Taylor, that's my Twitter handle. Donnie_Taylor at outlook.com is an email address that you can get me on. If you don't know of a local user group, please reach out to me. I will do my best to get you in touch with either a already established user group or maybe some like-minded individuals that would allow you to start your own, because that's where we all started. We all started these things of our own accord because we saw a need for like-minded individuals to come together. So please reach out to me. You're not bugging me, and it's something that I enjoy doing. So please reach out.
Thank you, Donnie. And just to recap on who to follow, make sure so anything related to the TXSMUG events, and make sure when you tweet out any communications related to that, just use the hashtag TXSMUG. So as far as our presenters today, we have Brad Anderson at Anderson, David Dames, D Jammer with 3 M's, and everybody else there. And again, we're going to publish these slides, so you don't have to, rush and write all these down or capture these. So we'll make sure that these get published. And then there's all the different user groups involved. This is TXSMUG Unite. There's 4 user groups uniting together to put this on, to provide this for the global community. So we heard a lot today. There's a lot of content, a lot of discussion. There was over 200 questions that were fielded today. So that's just amazing. Folks from the user group community, program managers, folks from the product group, and Brad, they're all involved in answering, over 200 questions. And I think they're still working on getting back to the remainder of the questions. But as far as call to action, there's some questions on, well, I'm not used to this new world. Is there a way that Microsoft can provide some help, either through Premier or through the account team, or even trusted Microsoft partners? All of them can provide workshops. So please work with a trusted Microsoft partner, your account team, to request workshops around Microsoft Endpoint Manager, Autopilot, Azure AD Conditional Access, Intune, etc. Even security. Security is huge, and there's some new programs coming out in fiscal year 21, starting in July. And use the best of both worlds. Enable co-management. If Intune manages a specific workload better than CM, move the slide bar over and use Intune instead. If Config Manager is better at managing that workload for your organization, slide the slide bar back, just like Jason Sandys was articulating earlier. And check out Tenant Attach. It's really cool. Just ask at Jason Sandys or at Adam Groves TX, and take a moment to send a tweet out to Michael Niehaus, thanking him for Autopilot, and work towards adopting Autopilot for your organization. And also reach out to Christiaan at Brinkhoff_C if you want any more information on Windows Virtual Desktop. He is a global black belt. You'll see him posting on LinkedIn as well. And Matt Soseman, so he produces a lot of videos on YouTube on Microsoft Defender ATP and really just the entire Microsoft 365 security and compliance stack. So, follow at Soseman Matt or look for him on LinkedIn as well. And overall, just enable your business to work anytime, anywhere, on any device, increasing productivity, enable your end users. So Donnie, do you want to talk about some of the upcoming events? I know we have a couple listed here. I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about any more events coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're all one big community, so we really enjoy hosting these, and anytime that we can get together and talk, that's a great thing. So we're not going to not tell you about other user groups and other meetings coming up. So MMS 2020, absolutely fabulous event. If you haven't gone before, please make every attempt to do so. They have one in the spring and one in the fall. The one in the spring has been delayed to July 26th of this year, and we're hoping that will still go on, but that there's a question mark there. Microsoft Ignite has gone virtual, and that will be in September. And then, of course, there's going to be a bunch of the user groups going virtual around you. And again, if you have any questions about those, please reach out to me.
And Donnie, if you don't mind, I'd just like to add in there also, for those of you, if you yourselves happen to use System Center Operations Manager, or if you have colleagues who do, there's an event going on next week called Scamathon. June 16th, there's a little over 1,000 people already signed up for it as well. And it is a 16-hour straight event that they're doing, spanning 3 different time zones or 3 different geographies. So go to scamathon.com.
Wow, way to steal our thunder, man. We just got through today.
Well, that's about it. Thank you everybody for participating. We're going to publish the presenter slides on Sked, so we'll be providing a link to that. And for those of you that registered, you'll get a communication out via Eventbrite with those details, along with the links to all the recorded sessions as well. I'm gonna leave the floor open in case anybody else wanted to hop on and say a few things.
Yeah, real quick, I did want to thank Microsoft again, like we've been thanking all afternoon, but I also want to thank Invoke for hosting this. It was good for them to stand this up and get it going so fast for us, to be able to put this on for everybody. So just a quick shout out to those guys.
We also need to thank a few other people. We've had some quiet participation from people like Paul Bird, Eric Morrison, Cameron, you came off of there, Bradley Burren. I'm missing a bunch of people, but this has just been one heck of a huge group that have been made this successful, all remote. Who else am I missing? I don't want to miss anybody.
Chris Turner.
Oh, thank you. How can I miss Chris?
Yeah, Chris.
Wow. Chris, thank you. Said it louder.
He might be out feeding the cows right now, but he'll be right back.
Usually is. Nah, it's a pleasure. Just to bring it back around to fun, happy conversations. It's 5 o'clock almost in Texas, so enjoy hoisting one on a Friday afternoon. But also, if you have any topics or questions or anything else coming up, reach out to these groups that you see on the screen on here, and we will absolutely facilitate getting everything together, whether it be Cameron's Follow the Sun Methodology conference next week or something else coming up soon. We love questions, we love challenges, and we want to make sure that we can help you.
Adam, am I allowed to press the end button now?
I think it's,
We've been waiting all day, man. Oh, before we end it, we should explain. Go ahead.
In live events, there's a
Yeah, I pressed that 7 hours ago. I'm sorry, guys.
You know, I got like another hour worth of content on this stuff. You know, I keep going.
the big red candy-like end button. Yeah. All right, Steven, go ahead and push it.
Oh, before you do it, Stephen, one last thing, just so everybody knows, in the view that Stephen has had all day is this glowing red orb that says end. And the problem is if anybody pushes it at any time, the whole meeting ends. And he's been looking at it all day.
He even gave me access to that button, and somehow I didn't press it all day, even though I keep trying.
Tempting.
All right. Go for it.
That's it.
Awesome.
Bye, buddy.
Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Be safe.